do. On. Good morning. We are now in the 6th lesson. Welcome to Yeshiva Or Tamimim. We're now in into the second paragraph of the discourse, the last discourse said by the sixth and previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, and it's talking about how every Jew can make himself into a holy temple, and in our case, what are the sacrifices? So the sacrifice is the word korban, which means to come close. To come close. Every Jew has an obligation to come close to God. How do you do it? You have everything. You have everything in yourself, the whole kit. You have the whole kit. We'll talk about a little bit more about what other ingredients there are. But one thing we certainly have is the animal. The animal is your natural tendencies and your natural ego. And this has to be made close to God. How do you make it close to God? First of all, you have to control yourself a little bit. It says in the Talmud that a thief, before he goes to steal, prays to God for success. A thief, before he steals, prays to God for success. Right? Why would he? He's going against God. How can he pray to? He says, no, he's not going against God. He's going against the Torah, but he's not going against God because God gave him the ability to steal and the desire to steal. Where does he have this nature from? It's from God. God arranged things. God creates the whole world all the time. That's what we Hasidim believe. And he creates every person, every instant. He creates everything that there is inside of us and outside of us is being created constantly. And everything is being created with a reason. So also, the same thing, if a person has a desire and a talent and a will to steal, so that was God-given. So therefore, the thief prays to God before he steals, which is pretty nice of him. Right? But on the other hand, he's going against the Torah. He's going against the Torah. So here we have two different wills of God. One will is that God wants this person to be a thief. Another will of God is God wants that no one should steal. So what are you supposed to do? So the answer is there's a battle. A battle between my nature and between God's nature. Or God's inner nature, let's put it that way. God's outer nature and God's inner nature. God's outer nature is the world. Nature. Things act the way they are. God's inner nature is the Torah. What are we supposed to follow? So a normal person will say, I don't know, the Torah is just part of the world. It's a book. It's a book in the library. I'm not going to change my life, my whole entire beautiful multicolored life, just for some black and white book. It doesn't make any sense. Why should I do that? If you want to do it, but leave me alone. Right? Logical. But we say no. That was the novelty of Abraham. That's what Abraham revealed. Abraham revealed that there is a, king of the universe. That God created the world naturally, and he wants us to control ourselves. He wants us to do it for him. So he wants this thief who's a good thief, and he never really succeeded in anything else. He tried accounting. He tried being a librarian. He tried working in the restaurants. Once he tried opening up a clothing store. Nothing worked. But stealing, he's great at. It's really fantastic. And he's a great natural liar, and he knows how to plan. He knows when people are home and when they're not home. He knows exactly when he goes out. He has a sense where the money is kept. Right? Took lessons on how to break into safes, and he knows where to get rid of the money. The guy's an expert, and it's all God-given. So why shouldn't he be a thief? Right? He feels good. He likes it. Says the reason is because it's against the Torah. The man he steals from is insured. The insurance companies, they're a bunch of thieves anyway. He's got all these excuses. But after everything, God doesn't want you to steal. Right? He doesn't want you to steal. And God is creating you. He's your creator. So why did God create me in such a way like this that I don't have to steal? One reason is because other people, let's say me, if I don't steal, so I don't get any big reward. Right? I'm not a very good thief. I'm not a good thief. What can I do? When I was a kid, I remember I had sort of hoodlum friends, and they used to steal from this 5 and 10 cent store. They used to steal, what was it called, a dime store. It was called, what was it? No, it was called Benjamin's or something like that. Benjamin Franklin. I don't even remember. Anyway, they used to steal. So I figured, okay, I'll do it also. So, I went in and I practiced. I used to steal little things. Not nothing big, but I used to write it down so that I would feel good. Then afterwards I thought, oh, this is really bad news. Why am I doing this? What am I stealing? I don't even need this stuff. I felt really, really guilty. I felt really bad, which thieves are never supposed to feel. I felt really guilty. And then I went back to give all the stuff back. This is like years afterwards. I stole maybe like $200 worth of stuff altogether. Poker chips and gum and things like that. I remember that. I feel really bad. So like a year later, I went just to pay the guy and admit that. And the store was closed. He sold it. It was something else. So I could never pay it back. So I feel sort of guilty to this day. That was when I was like 12 years old or something. Felt bad. But I wasn't a good thief. These guys could steal. They could come out with packs and stuff. And I like little stuff. I was never really good at it. Some people who are good at it. For a person like that, not to steal because God doesn't want him to, it's a tremendous, amazing thing, right? He's changing the world. He's changing the world, turning the world upside down. If people would do that, right, if it could start out a movement of not doing what you want, then you know what it would mean? No one would kill each other. People wouldn't be and never get depressed. Depression is a thing a person wants to do. It's his nature. He likes it. He'll fight against it. I don't want to be depressed. He'll fight against it his whole life. He'll fight against anger, fight against desires and lustings. Amazing thing. But the Rebbe says even more, that that's the idea of a sacrifice. They took an animal, which is an animal, nature, they brought it to a holy temple, and they turned it into a commandment. So the same thing you can turn your natural soul into a commandment. Okay, so it says, when I request, v'zehu. We're in the middle of the page. First word in the line is lahagia. Okay? With me, Kobe? V'zehu, and that's what it means. Adam ki yakriv, person when he sacrifices. That in order, sha'adam, you have your mimer? Yeah. Sha'adam, that a person Yitkarev will come close, lelokus, to God, who it is, mikem, it's from you. Shemikem, from you, I'm sorry, hadavar talui, it all depends on you. Hainu, namely, mikem, that from you, korban laHashem, from you is a sacrifice to God. Mikem, that from you, that mikem, from yourself, takribu, sacrifice, eta korban, the sacrifice to God. From yourself, you have to make the sacrifice. The ain kavana, the intention is not rak, only hakorban, the sacrifice, shela behema, of the animal bilvad. In the time of the Beis Hamikdash, it wasn't just that you should bring the physical animal, ki'im, but rather mikem, from you. Last word on the line. Last word on the line, right, like a little below the middle of the page, mamash. Okay, you have the place? Yes, you have it? See what it is? Are you with me? Last word on the line is mamash. You see what it is? No? Yeah, last word on the line. Here. Yeah. We have it? Yeah. You have it? Yes. No, something like that. Mamash. Who, and it is. So you have to bring from yourself. What do you bring from yourself? First word in line is vahu. Vahu, and it is mina behema. You have to bring from the animal. What type of an animal? Habehema, the animal. Shebelibo, which is in the heart. Shel adam, of man. The animal that's in your heart. What is the animal that's in your heart? Your nature. What you want to do. Shehu, which is hanefesh habam, is the animal soul. The animal soul, or if we want to say it in another way, the human soul. The human soul. What is the human soul? A human being. What are human beings supposed to do? Everything in the world that's created knows what to do. It has its nature, and it acts like its nature, there's no problem. A human being doesn't know what to do. On one hand, the human being has a natural nature, just to be like an animal, just to do whatever you want to. Don't don't have any limitations. On the other hand, the human being has also these other things like conscience and reason. Well, you don't have your mimer?
It's locker lock. I don't know why. Someone put a lock on it.
What do you mean?
I have my locker thing there, and someone put a lock on it. You're using someone. No, it's not you.
Here, that's yours. Take.
You have a locker in here.
The animal soul. Yeah, there are enough lockers in here. You can. Okay. The animal soul. What is the animal soul? The animal soul, in our case, the human animal soul. You're a human animal, human being. Now, like I said, everything in the world knows what to do. How horses know what to do, and cows know what to do, but dogs know what to do. Some of them have a nature they can be trained, they can be tamed, right? Horses and dogs, right? Things like that. They can be tamed because I heard one place that that's why they go in packs. That's why dogs and horses go in packs, because they like to go after a leader. When they see a human being, they say the human being is his leader. They sense the human being has a power of leadership or something, so they follow a leader. That's what somebody told me. But anyway, that's their nature. What's the nature of a human being? So everybody's different. This guy wants to be a leader. This wants to be a follower. Some people like this. People have self-preservation, right? Comes along Sigmund Freud. He has his theory what a human being is. Comes along Alfred Adler. He has his theory what a human being is. There comes along other people. They have no theory of what a human being is. Just the whole thing is behavioristic. Get rid of your problems. Forget about these theories. Then there comes along Immanuel Kant, and comes along this guy Plato, and everybody has theories of what is a human being. What's the goal of a human being? What a human being is supposed to be? What's the ultimate human being? What's a simple human being? What's a person supposed to have? Then there's politicians. They have their idea of what a human being is, right? Just to fulfill. You live for the country. You live for yourself. The rightists, the leftists. Right? Do whatever you want to. Then there's the communists. Then there's the fascists. Then there's the this, the that. Right? Everybody has their own idea of what is a human being. The Torah also has its idea of what a human being is. The difference is the Torah is written by the creator of human beings. The creator who creates human beings, he wrote an instruction book for the Of course, there's always other religions, and they say, yes, the Torah used to be true, but the Muslims say the Jews lost the Torah. The Christians say the Jews don't understand the Torah properly. Maybe once it was true, but now we have a different interpretation. Right? Then there's the people in the East, the Far East, they say the Torah is just maybe another book, we don't even look at it. We have our religion, you have your religion, everybody has. But the Jews say no, there's a creator, he creates man, and creates all the world, all the time, and he wrote an instruction book. And this instruction book is called the Torah. He also wrote instructions on how to understand this book. And there are certain people who are devoted to understanding this book, and that's the Torah. One of the main unusual things of the Torah says you have to build a holy temple. Right? The Jews got out of Egypt, and one of the things they did is one of the first things they did was they built a tabernacle, a holy temple, and they made sacrifices in this tabernacle. Before that, the first commandment, I guess, in a way that was given to the Jewish people, to all the Jewish people, was one from Abraham. It came from the time of Abraham. It wasn't a commandment as such until it was commanded later on. But Abraham was circumcision. Jews circumcised themselves. What's this thing with circumcision? That the way you're created is not the way you're supposed to be. In other words, the way you are created by God himself. God created you. That's not the way that God wants you to remain. God wants you to circumcise yourself. There's part of you which is extra. It covers over. Another thing that God says is there's also the sacrifices. We have animals. You're supposed to take these animals into this place called the Holy Temple and sacrifice them to God. Right? That's part of the world. In other words, God puts inside of you also an animal, and you have to sacrifice this animal. The difference between the sacrificing in the temple, you sacrificing yourself, is in the temple they had to kill the animal totally. Here you don't have to kill your animal. All you have to do is let the life out of it, the blood, like you said. Take away the life from it a little bit. Don't enjoy that pizza so much. You're willing to eat a not kosher pizza. Don't enjoy that pizza so much that you can't wait after meat, that you gotta eat that pizza now. Right? Don't enjoy the pizza so much that instead of eating pizza, you're not going to go learn Torah, or you're not going to go daven, you're not going to go pray, or you'll pray fast because you got that picture that pizza is in your mind. It's a kosher pizza. What your nature says and tells you to do and urges you to do is not necessarily right. Here. So that's what it says. You have to bring the sacrifice in the holy temple and make it come close to God. You have a desire to eat pizza. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but you have to know how to do it. That's what God created you for, right? To know how to do it. And even non-religious people, even totally anti-religious people also believe this. They have a thing called etiquette, right? Where you just don't go and snarf down a pizza and just, there's a way to eat it. You have a knife, you have a fork, right? Maybe you put a little bib under your this. You have to sit straight up. The knife goes on the right, it goes on the left, right? How you sit and you eat has to be in a proper way. You don't talk while you're eating. Things that people naturally like to do, right? You know, you don't do it that way. You don't be a barbarian. Don't be uncouth, right? You have to delicate. You have to control yourself. Control yourself is very good. You go to university. They teach you how to speak properly, how to talk properly, how to stand properly, how to walk properly, right? How to deal with the world. Control yourself. Doctors go to university to learn. Right, if a person has a pain in his head, it doesn't necessarily mean that his head hurts. It could be some problem with his blood. Maybe he has some sort of an infection somewhere else. Right? Yeah, things aren't the way they seem. That's what the universities are for, to teach you how to analyze things properly so that you can make money or whatever you want to make. People, how to solve people's problems. Ideally, that's what it's supposed to be. It says the Torah says the same thing, but the Torah has a little bit of difference. University tells you how to act, how to talk, right? Maybe even how to think in certain situations. But the Torah tells you how to be. The Torah tells you who you really are. What is your goal? What is good and bad? That university doesn't tell you. Unless maybe they have new classes. Right? That's already religion. Don't mix religion. Instead, you have your ideas of good. University doesn't teach you what's good and bad. Maybe it teaches you what a good doctor is, what a good lawyer is, what a good plumber is, what a good this. But it doesn't tell you what a good person is. It doesn't tell you what to do with your urges. It doesn't tell you what to do with your private life, right? I mean, I used to play music, right? So I used to go to play sometimes parties, private parties for the university, for the professors. That was one of the things that brought me to do tshuva. There was a whole bunch of things that did, but that was one of them. I saw these guys. I said, "Who is that guy? You know, sitting in the middle of the floor with no clothes on in the lotus position?" Or something like, "Oh, that's the professor of the sociology department. He's the guy that's professor, you know, whatever his name is." No, this guy, that's what they do. This is the nighttime for these guys. That's what they're living for. He says, no, that was, you know, they want to have their fun also. They have to have fun. It ends up that that's not their fun also. This is the main reason that they're a professor, to show that a professor can do this. Oh, that's cool. That's the real man. That's really who he is. It just so happens that he has an ability to be a professor also. That's it. Right? Professor's like the secondary thing. He's not sunk into being a professor like he's sunk into, you know, having a good time. That is, like I say, letting yourself go, right? That's his real self. It's not as uncontrolled, unplugged like this. Is that really right? Is that really what life is? That's what a human being. Sure, that's what a human being is. Mina bakar o mina tzon. That's the thing. Like these people in the Wall Street, the protesters, those people. What do they say? The thing is, everybody else is at fault. Everyone else is wrong. It's his fault. The economy is his guy. This guy's fault. Everything is his fault. What about yourself? Me? I'm the victim. I'm the victim of all these people. Right? Let me go. Give power to the people. Let us do what we want to. Right? We should make love, not war. We're going to do it. We're going to do everything. Right? It was the same thing was in communism. Said the same thing. The same slogans. It was in the 60s with the same, flower power, and it works for a little while, and then all of a sudden, one guy says, "Hey, you know what I want to do? I want to punch people out. That's what I want to do. If everybody can do what they want, so that's what I want. I want to help man. I don't want to take things and do things, and right? I see that lady I like. I want to take her. That was Esav. Take her. Why not? Right? What's the problem? See the money I want? Get it. Oh, why should I have less money? I deserve more. All of a sudden, the whole thing is just complete. And this guy has to protect himself. Always going to protect himself. You shouldn't protect yourself. You should just let everybody get. All of a sudden, everything becomes confusion. Right? They don't know. I remember when in America, the blacks, they supported the Palestinians. Why did they have that connection there? All of a sudden, they supported the Palestinians, right, against the Jews. The Jews helped the blacks out in the beginning and helped them out tremendously. Right? All of a sudden, why? Why did they do that? We like it. It's a good idea. Here we have the action, and they're fighting for their purposes, and they're fighting for this. And all of a sudden, everything became upside down. Everybody just did what they want. Right? There's no bring a reason, bring a logic, bring something. No, this is what I want. This is what I. As soon as a person does that, then that's animal world, animal farm. If a person does what it says in the Torah, then all of a sudden you can ask him questions. Why do you do this? What's the reason for doing this? This is what God says. This is, we believe, a higher source, right? A higher purpose. The creator of the universe says to do this. That's why I'm creating myself to serve. That was Abraham's job. Abraham was the first person to realize, I'm controlling myself for the present. What are you getting out of it? I'm getting out of it truth. I'm getting out. I mean, you're not getting power. You're not getting money. You're not getting the world to come. What are you getting? I'm getting the truth. God will do what He wants. I'm just doing what God wants. That guy's nuts. That doesn't make any sense. What's he doing that for? You're right, 100%. That's what a Jew is. A Jew is a person that all he wants to do is become close to the truth. That's what he wants. That's what a real Jew is. Will there be, what's he going to get? I don't know what I'm going to get out of it, but somebody in the world has to do it. Someone in the world has to do it. Right? Everybody's just running around for themselves. I'm going to be a person that I want to do what's the truth. The truth means that you can also be a doctor, you can be a lawyer, you can be all these things. But I'm going to be a true doctor, a true lawyer. I'm not going to cheat people. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to do only what's the truth. That's rare. It's rare. Everybody, they say there's a saying in the world. Everybody has a price. Everybody has their price. A Jew is supposed to be a person that doesn't have a price. You can't bribe him. His own emotions and his own desires also can't bribe him. He's not going to go according to his nature. He's always going to try to be in good nature, to do what it says in the Torah, to love God, to love every person, love every human being, to make the world a better place. That's what it means. A person has to bring from the animal. What type of animal? Different types of animals. Mina bakar. Everybody has inside of themselves different types of animals. One animal is the what? Bakar means from the from. What types of animals do you bring? Mina bakar from the cows. Mina tzon from the sheep. These are the different types of sacrifices you can make. Hein, they are. Hema. Hein, hema means they are. Haprati, the individual, madregos levels. The yeshnon that exist. Benefesh bahamis, in the animal soul. Ukiyadua, and as is known, ha'inyanim, the details, bazeh, in this. Te'en odoma, that it is not similar, ha'ofani, the ways, ha'birurim, refinement, bekal echad ve'echad, in each and every person. The yeshnam, that there are those. There are people. Shenefesh ba'amis, that the animal soul, first one line is ha'ofaneh. It's 13 lines on the bottom of the page. Shenefesh ba'amis, that the animal soul, shalo, of him, his animal soul, who is shor nagach. It is a goring ox. Ubal midos, and a possessor of, how do you say, personality, gasot, thick, bioter, very much. Right? There's some people that they are very, how do you say, crass people. The yesh, and there are those, shuhutzon, that their animal soul is like a sheep. Shehu, which is behemadaka, it is a, how do you say, a small animal. Av shegamzeh, even though this also, bichlal, is in the category behem of an animal. Right? Some people are very refined, they're intellectual, they don't have big desires, they rarely get angry, they don't have big lusts, right? They're very sort of quiet people. They like a good book. They like this, right? That type of a person, he's got his animal soul. What's his animal soul? That he's not interested. He's cold. Then there's another person, he's like a goring ox. What's his animal soul? Everything by him is by heat. He can't sit down and learn. He doesn't want to control himself. He just wants to go for it, have a good time, right? His whole thing, he wants to watch, how do you say, full contact fighting and a good baseball game, a football game. Baseball's too boring for him. Good football game, good boxing. Right? He's an animal. Just go for it. Right? Some people are like that. There's different types of animal souls and different types of people. Right? Some people are like a goat, some people. But this is, some people are like a sheep. A sheep is very fine, he's refined, he'll listen to what you say. The problem with the sheep is it's very hard to get him moved. He'll listen, go to lectures about Judaism, about everything is very nice. But, okay, you do your thing. It's very nice. I had a very nice lecture, excellent speaker, very wonderful rabbi, good stories. Will you put on tefillin, sir? No, I don't think so. I don't. Right? What about that? There's another way to say, certainly not. Right? Tefillin. What's that for? What about keeping Shabbos? It was a lecture. Just because you learn about things doesn't mean you have to do it. There's a whole tractate of gittin, of divorce. Just because I learned the laws of divorce doesn't mean I have to divorce my wife. The same thing is just because I learn about tefillin, I have to put on tefillin. Right? So he's very calm. It's very easy. Thank you very much. Another guy is like an ox, right? Get out of here with your religion. That's a bunch of junk. That's terrible. It doesn't make any sense. All you religious people, you're a bunch of fakers and a bunch of liars and all this. Oh, the guy is excited. If he's excited, you can talk to him, right? You have who to talk to. You can argue with. What do you mean? All the Jews, arguing back and forth. Then afterwards, maybe the person, you can say, hey, he thinks, listen, maybe there is something to this whole business. Maybe, could be. You never tell, right? Sometimes a person starts to think. This is a guy who's like an ox. He's a mover. It could be that, right? At least you have somebody to talk to. Says, nevertheless, all these people, no matter what it is, and you can be religious already, and you can have this book. This is not written for non-religious people. This is not written by the other guy, for the other guy. This book is written for me, right? I'm reading this book. A person that was born religious, who became religious, and he's a teacher, and he's a professor, and he's a rabbi, and he's the holy, everything you want. Says, don't worry, after all, you're a behemoth. You're still an animal, right? Maybe not a big animal, maybe a little animal, maybe not all the time, maybe some of the time, right? Some things get you angry, some things get you depressed, some things you have lust for, you can't control yourself, your mouth, your eyes, your this, you can't. Okay, you don't control it all the time. A little bit, a little animal, once in a while. This is like the Jews in the time of the temple. The Holy Temple says that everybody used to worship idols. It was a terrible thing. They worship idols. When did they worship idols? Said once a month. Once a week. A person had an idol in his closet, right? Once a month he would open up, bow down to the idol. No big deal. All the other time he would go to the base of Mikdash, put on tefillin, do everything. But, don't take any chances. Right? Don't take any chances. You cold? No. Okay. But some people are like a sheep. It's like an animal. But hubadakos, it is refined. It is a small animal, called panim at least. Kamavur, and like is explained, ba'arichus at long length, but kuntras hatafila, in a book which is called the Kuntras Hatafila, the book of prayer, is written by the Rebbe's father, the fifth Lubavitcher Rebbe, when he opened up the Tomchei Tamim, when he opened up the Chabad yeshivas, as he wrote pamphlets to help explain certain things, and that the pupils should read. One of them is called the pamphlet of prayer. Another was pamphlet. Another one is the pamphlet of studying the inside of the Torah. Kuntras Eitz Chaim, to learn the secrets of the Torah, the importance of learning the ideas of the secret ideas of the Torah. That's what Chabad is for. That we learn Kabbalistic and explaining the Kabbalistic ideas, also to put it into our daily life. It's called Kuntras Eitz Chaim, the tree of life. And then there's Kuntras Avoda, in the countries of the book of service, how to serve, with the idea of serving God. And there's one called Kuntras Hamayana. Hamayana Yotzei B'Beis Hashem. Essentially, it is where money comes from. And that's the one that talks more about Mashiach than any other. Where money is sometimes the big enemy of the Mashiach is money. Right? Money is a great thing. It's a good thing. But sometimes it becomes It owns you and you don't it. It explains there. Okay, but one of these is called Kuntrasa Tefillah, the book, the pamphlet about prayer that was written by the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe's father, the fifth Lubavitcher Rebbe. V'zeu, huh? Tov Reish Samach. That's the year it was written. Tov Reish Samach, which would be, let's say, 112 years ago. What's 112 years ago? 2000? What? 1900. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's right. 1900. Very good. 1900. V'zeu, and this is She'omer that says, that's what it says in the Torah, Asher, that takrivu, you should sacrifice at korban chem, your sacrifice. And everyone has his sacrifice, his animal soul to bring close to the Creator. So your animal soul is not bad. Your animal soul is potentially very, very good. That's why you came down into this world, is to bring your animal soul close to the Creator of all animal souls. Hine, behold, korban, in the physical, gashmi, in the physical sacrifice, who is shemevim, that you bring behema gashmi, a physical animal, al gabi mizbeach, on the altar. So what we said before, that every Jew is a holy temple. Every Jew has animals inside of him, and every Jew has to make these animals come close to God. But how did it used to be in the old days, in the time of the temple? What was it? There used to be, by the way, one of the things the Mashiach is supposed to do, is the goal of the Mashiach is to build the holy temple. And after he builds the holy temple, then all the Jews are going to come to Israel. That's what the Rambam says. If after he builds the holy temple, this is the only way, by the way, rabbis, to bring all the Jews to Israel. After the Mashiach comes and builds the holy temple, then all the Jews are going to come to Israel. It says, how would the base of Mikdash be built? In the base of Mikdash, they used to bring a physical animal. People would bring physical animals to the altar. The altar was not just something in a side room. The altar was the central feature of the holy temple. According to one opinion, that was the whole purpose of the holy temple. Even the Holy of Holies and everything was only for the Mizbech, making the sacrifices. And there was ha'esh, fire, shalomayla, from above. Fire came from above. It says in the base of, in the Beit HaMikdash, there used to be a ball of fire that came from heaven. Ball of fire that came from heaven. And of course there was also wood. They had to bring wood and light a regular fire. There was 3 fires, some 4 fires, something on the altar. They had to light physical fire. But in addition to that, there was a ball of fire that fell down from heaven, came from heaven, and would eat up the sacrifices. Isa, like it says, Biyoma in the Gemara in Yoma, page Chaf Aleph, Amud Beis, the second side of page 21, it says, Revutza, it was crouching. Write this down, Mendy. You have a pen here? I got a pen for you. Here, look. Write it down your book here. Oh, that's it. Ravutza, it was crouching. Ka'ari, there was fire, a ball of fire that was crouching like a lion. Here's an explanation from Rashi. Rashi says, Gachelas, a flame. Like a flaming coal or something, a flame. Shenafla, that fell. Mina Shamayim, from heaven. Biyamei, in the days of Shlomo, King Solomon. And it was Alam Mizbeach, on the altar, says Rashi. Zohar, and in the Zohar was a book that was written by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai shortly after the destruction of the Second Temple. And there it has a lot of secrets of the Torah. There was never a rabbi in the history of Judaism quite like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was something totally different than anybody else, and he knew all these secrets, and he wrote a book called the Zohar, and in the Zohar, Ita, it says, Aryeh, that this ball of fire was a lion, the Achel that ate, Korbanin that ate up the sacrifices. Okay, now we've just finished saying that every Jew is a holy temple, and every Jew has the animals in it. Fire that we bring from below, we're going to see that is contemplation, using your mind to think, is this stuff really true or not? What is this man talking about? Right, that every Jew is a holy temple, God really exists, God really wants us to serve him. Is this really true or not? Just to sit down and think, right? Is it true or is it not true? Say, this is a theory, it's the Rebbe's idea, philosophy, Jewish philosophy, or is this really it, right? Is it just the way he looks at the world, like, Havdil, Plato looks at it this way, and Aristotle looks at it this way, and, Kant looks at it this way, and Hegel looks at it this way. All these different people look at Schopenhauer as his ideas, worldview, and his worldview is his worldview. Or maybe this is the truth. This is it. This is the fact. Right? This is what this man is receiving from the creator of the universe. This is the real truth, right? It's like looking at a road map. Is this really a road map of Hong Kong, or is this interpretation of Hong Kong? What do you mean? If that's what it is, then nobody's going to go according to any road map. Right? Everybody's going to have to make their own road map. Right? This is the truth. Is this really the road map of creation? So it says that in the Beis HaMikdash it says in the Zohar, that there wasn't a lion that ate up the sacrifices, a ball of flame shaped like a lion, that ate up the sacrifices. Says the Rebbe, every Jew is a holy temple, and every Jew has an animal, and every Jew has to bring a fire from below, which that's thinking about God, thinking, is this stuff really true or not? There's also a fire from above. And what is this fire from above? Hine, behold, kamoken, it's a gift from God, that as every single person has it. Kamoken, similarly, who is ba'avoda, in the service, benefesh adam, in the soul of man. And in this way, this is going to be the big difference between a Jew and a non-Jew. A non-Jew knows there's God, and a non-Jew wants to do what's right, and a non-Jew appreciates God, and he'll give thanks to God. It could be they've been misled all these years by different religions, but still they have a sense that there is God, there's something right, there is something wrong. They have a sense that there is no one. A Jew has a fire for it. By a Jew, it's a fire. A Jew has to know what God is. He has to have the truth. You go to a non-religious Jew, God exists, put on the you're full of baloney, you know what you're talking about, you're religious people. You go to a non-Jew, and you say, God exists. Okay, exists, doesn't exist. Believe what you want, believe it. Take it or leave it. It's not such. A Jew will fight with you to this guy. He doesn't believe in God, you don't believe. So what are you getting so excited about? The whole thing is that the religious people, they were the ones that the whole, right? What are you getting excited about? Just, it's just my idea. It burns inside of them. Something is burning. They have to know what, and if it's not burning, it means that they don't really know that they're Jewish. Right? Maybe they don't really know what it is, or they've been taught, or like we said before, their nature is that they're calm people. And even the quietest people, the calmest people, you'll see, all of a sudden they'll get, I had an uncle. That was the thing that the Zionism played on this idea. I had an uncle that he was totally not religious. He was against everything. It was not a very happy person. And I knew him very vaguely. And he was not excited about nothing, not about Israel or Zionism or the Jew, nothing. He didn't consider himself to be a Jew, never went to synagogue, never had anything like that. When there was the 6-Day War, and he found out that the Arabs were attacking Israel, all of a sudden he emptied out his whole bank account, everything. It's $50,000 that he had saved up. In those days, that was in the 60s. $50,000 was a lot of money. I mean, it was maybe like, $200,000 today, maybe even more. Emptied out the whole thing, he gave it to them, right? All of a sudden, it woke up. To go to synagogue, to put, what are you talking about? But something woke up inside of him, right? He would do it. Where do you find a thing like that, right? You find a Protestant will give to the Protestant. The Protestants are being killed in whatever is in Ireland. They emptied out their pet and give it, right? Not a guy who doesn't consider himself to be religious. He cares, right? You see, anyway, so you see all of a sudden a Jew, he got this identity. He doesn't know how to express it. He doesn't know what to do. It's burning inside of him. It says every Jew has inside of him a fire. Hari, behold, yesh eish, there is fire, from above. But who, and it is, harish fe eish, the flaming fire, shebenefesh elokis, of the godly soul. Here you see, for instance, in Judaism, you see an interesting thing, there's what we call Reformed Jews. The guy's a Reformed Jew. What does he mean? He doesn't believe in the Torah, he doesn't believe in God, but he's a Jew. I'm a Jew, I'm just as good a Jew as everybody else. Who would care what you are? I thought you don't care about Judaism. What is a Jew? A Jew is it's a group. It's a nation. It's a way of thinking. It's a something. Well, he doesn't even know exactly what it is, right? But he's on fire. He is a reformed Jew. Doesn't care about the Torah. Doesn't care about mitzvahs. Doesn't care. You ever hear a person, a reformed Catholic, a reformed? What type of thing is this? And the Protestants, when the guy he makes up a new religion, right? This guy's a Lutheran. This guy's a this. This is something. Make up a new Jew. Say I'm not a Jew. I'm a grumber. I'm a pianist. I'm a this. Let's make up some other name, right? No, a Jew. I'm just as good a Jew as everybody else. Wow, what is it? What do you care so much about Judaism? It's so important to you. Being a Jew, it's so important. That's right, it is. Why? What's so important? He doesn't know. There's something burning inside of him. He says, I'm just, and the fact is, he is just as good a Jew as everybody. In that fire that's inside of him is just the same as everybody. He says, every Jew has this flaming fire of Hashem, Kamaimer, like it says, Rishafeha, its flames, Rishfei Eish, are flames of fire, Shelaheves, a flame of Yud-Kei. That's the Shir Hashirim. Shir Hashirim is a love song between the Jews and God and the Jews. Love. The relationship between Hashem and the Jews is fiery. It's a fiery relationship. Personally. The Isa in Midrash Rabbah, and it says in the Midrash Rabbah, and it's brought in the Yalkut Shimoni, Ke'esh, like fire, Shalamayla, from above. That every Jew has in his soul fire that comes from above. She'ena Eish, this fire is not Mechabeh, put out, Lamayim, by water. Ve'ein hamayim, and there is no water, mechabim leish, that can put out this fire. The fire that every Jew has for God, no water can put it out. What water might you think could put it out? What water might put out this fire for God? What water? You'll see in 1 second. Right? We'll see. Hainu, namely, betev, other than the nature, nefesh elokis, of the godly soul. Harei, behold. Yeshbo, there is in it, Rishvei Eish, flaming fire. Ahava, love, the Elokus, for Hashem, for God. Vahu, and it is bedugmas, like Eish, fire. Okay, you with me? You with me? Mendy, where are we? Where are we? Eish, fire, Shalamayla, from above. She'ein hamayim, that the water cannot, mechabim. What's mechabim mean? Mechabim, write it down. We had it before. Extinguish, put out. Oto it. There is no water. What is this water that you might think could extinguish your godly soul? Your feeling and your certainty that God is alive and real and creating you and enlivening you and cares about you and wants you the best for you, right? This God that's the essence of all life and the essence of all heat and warmth and love. What could put out this feeling? Hamayim, the water. Haim, they are mayim rabim, turbulent waters. Rabim means like many. Turbulent waters. What are these turbulent waters that can put out your godly soul? Riboy hatirdos, the many, how do you say, distractions. Betirdos, in the distractions, haparnasa, of making money. Ubilbulim, and confusion. Shonim, different confusion. Betirdos, in distractions. Shonos, and different distractions. Tirdos means like to be, I say, busy, distracted, confused. Hamabalbling, that confuse a person, betorah and avoda. That confuse a person in Torah and avoda. Right, nowadays we have internet. Internet can be the most wonderful thing in the world. There's so much information on the internet about anything you want to know. You want to know about any philosopher, any musician, the history of any country, of any politician. You want to know about a person. You're going to go into business with somebody. Look him up on the internet. There he is. You can find anything about him. You can find his credit rating, his past, and what he did, and if he's a liar, if he's a cheater. You can find anything about the person. Right? On the other hand, in the internet, in 1 second, you can be finished. Right? You can watch a picture, you can see about for 1 second, and that's it. Right? And mess you up. There's gambling online. There's the worst possible sins that people had to go to who knows far away to get. Now you just sit in your room and you get there. It is the worst things possible. You can order it. But you have a credit card. Slip into your go into the bathroom for 5 minutes. That's it. You're in hell. Hell is fun. All the people in hell are right. Fun people. Right? There's murderers over there, and there's lust, and all sorts of crazy things. All the sins in the world are at your fingertips. It says, what happens? You're sitting and you were learning Torah. You went for 1 second. That's it. You're finished. You're finished the whole month. You're finished the whole year. You saw a picture. You saw a thing. It says the many problems, betirdas are parnasa, and the bothers of parnasa, ubilbulim shonim, and therefore what the tirdas shown us, hamabalblim, the confusing in Torah v'avoda. That's just on the internet. Now they brought it into your house with the internet. On the other hand, there's things in the world, right? People go into business with people. The guy steals from, robs him. No, not so bad, but the guy who robbed from you was religious. He was a religious person. You trusted him, right? You trusted him. You believed in him. He gave you all sorts of checks and shook your hand and thank you in the name of Hashem and God will help us and this. And they stole all your money, right? He took all of the religious guy. What happened? Right? And then the guy cheated other people. And you go to the prison, you see there's all sorts of religious people to visit the guy in prison. Why'd you do it? You see there's all sorts of religious people. There's a whole religious word. There is. Religious word for religious people in prison. Right? The guy, people did some of the worst, terrible sins. He started to think, wow, this is pretty bad. This is not so good. Especially when it took my money. Right? All sorts of confusions and difficulties. It used to be in America, people came. If you kept Shabbos, you didn't have any work. Right? In the 30s, the 40s, you kept Shabbos, that was it. You didn't have any work. You had to figure communist Russia, what they did to religious Jews, right? How difficult it was to learn Torah, that was the previous Rebbe. He gave his life so the children would, right? He risked every single second of his life that children would be able to learn Torah. To learn what's big deal learning Torah? They would kill you. They caught you learning Torah, they would kill you. Right? If a person taught somebody else Torah, that was it. He was finished. A father had a right to teach his children Torah, but there couldn't be a teacher that taught them. Says all these things confuse a person from Torah v'avoda. Ubechol zeh, nevertheless, and with all this, hine behold, gam naros, even rivers of troubles and difficulties, lo yishtafua, can never quench the godly soul. The godly soul will always be burning. No matter what. As we will learn, God willing, more tomorrow, how to always be warm and alive. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Turn off the thing, please. Thank you.